Hey Flower Tribe, it's Kelly Lehman from Cranberry Fields Flower Farm, and I want to show you guys how I grew these crazy giant Limelight Hydrangeas today. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Kelly Lehman. I'm the owner of Cranberry Fields Flower Farm here in Cranberry, New Jersey, and I love giving you guys fun free flower tips. So please feel free to subscribe and hit the notifications so that you know whenever I post another fun free flower tip video. So I wanted to show you guys what my hydrangeas look like this time of year. And I have to say, it's pretty crazy because these flower heads have got to be about, 18 inches or 2 feet wide. So they're just absolutely gigantic. I'm going to give you like a little side version. Lucy's in the background there, of course. Good morning, Lucy. So check out how giant these Limelight Hydrangea flower heads are. So here's my thumb, just to give you like a little comparison. So I normally get like beautiful Limelight Hydrangeas, but this year is just like outstanding. I mean, it's so crazy. And I want to give you like a little comparison to the hydrangeas that are in the back of them. So take a look at these Limelight Hydrangea heads, and then take a look at some of these that were from like my endless summer. And so I think that one of the major reasons why these guys got so giant was because I pruned them back in late spring, and I usually don't prune mine back. And I think that the second reason that my Limelight Hydrangeas got so big is because we've had like a crazy amount of rain. And even like last night we got pummeled. And so I don't know if you guys are still experiencing the storms. Let me know in comments below where you're from, what the weather's like. I love seeing how our flower tribe is growing around the globe each week. And I love seeing what the weather's like in your gardens. So yeah, so we got just demolished by rain in the past couple weeks and even last night. But these Limelight Hydrangeas really seem to have loved that extra rain. And I have to say, I don't normally like over water my hydrangeas, especially like this time of year. I'm always afraid I'm going to get root rot. But I have to say, these guys have gotten an insane amount of rain, and the flower heads are just tremendous. So I think I'm going to actually kick up my watering schedule a little bit more each summer now, because I used to, just make sure that they had like at least an inch of water each week, as long as, we didn't have like any crazy temperatures. But these guys have been getting like loads and loads of water, like inches and inches. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of extra watering next year to see if I have similar results, because, you can't control Mother Nature. So I couldn't control the amount of rain that was going into this plant, and it was a lot, I have to say. But these blooms are just, it's just like mind-boggling that they are that large. So the only thing that, and I think I've told some of you guys this before that watch the channel, the flower heads are so colossal that they're really heavy, and they're kind of making the plant bend down to the ground. So I kind of showed you this last week. So if you don't want colossal Limelight Hydrangea heads like that, then just don't prune the plant back at all. And I usually don't prune my Limelight Hydrangea plant back at all. But so that's the story with these giant Limelight Hydrangeas. Now here's the thing. These guys are giant, and they're going to make for beautiful dried flower arrangements. But I'm going to wait for most of them to turn a little bit greener, because Limelight Hydrangeas start off like creamy white, and then they turn to like a beautiful green. And right now these guys are just starting to turn green. But if I were to have waited a little bit longer, they would have totally dried out like on the stem in like a green, and like they have like a little bit of maroon tips on the top. So if you're looking for a really beautiful dried flower arrangement, then just kind of wait for your Limelight Hydrangeas to dry out. And I'm going to show you what that kind of looks like with this endless summer I have over here. So this endless summer bloom I let dry out on the stem, and now it actually feels kind of papery. So this is going to be like a beautiful bloom to put in a dried flower arrangement. But be careful, guys, because if you're pruning back your your endless summers this time of year, know that you're going to be cutting some of the blooms off that may come in next year if you cut them too long, if you cut the stems too long. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I cut a super long one here. So this guy, this is what the stem looked like that I cut, and I cut it pretty long just to show you how, what not to do. So I'll come out this time of year and I'll cut a couple blooms off like this just to make arrangements and to kind of tidy up the plant just a bit. But now all these little side shoots here, these are all going to be blooms next year. So those little side shoots over there would have given me flowers next year. But like I said, I wanted to kind of tidy up the plant, so I'm okay with cutting that off. Just make sure that you don't give your hydrangeas any kind of a deep pruning in fall, because it's usually not a good idea for most varieties. And I want to show you some of these little black spots that are on the plant too. A lot of you have asked me about that. It's okay. It's usually just like a moisture issue because the leaves are like, they've been super wet here and then it got cold at night. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. And I wanted to show you a couple other stems I have in here. This is from a Big Daddy. And this bloom, you know, some people have asked me why it got so faded. It's just, it's kind of seen its time. It's, kind of past its prime. But I'm going to give this guy like a little shot of spray paint just to kind of perk him up. And I'm going to make like a little dried flower arrangement out of him. And I wanted to show you the size of what my Limelight hydrangeas usually look like when I don't prune back the plant. So this is like the normal size. Let me try to put them side by side. This is what the normal size usually looks like over there. And this is what they looked like this year when I did prune them back. So once again, you can get beautiful, giant, blooms like that. But just know that it's going to kind of weigh the plant down. I'm going to kind of give you like an aerial view up here. So you see how like the plant's kind of weighed down? There's two stems way in the back that are still kind of perky. They're kind of standing right up, but the rest of the plant's weighed down. So if you don't like that look of kind of like those floppy giant hydrangea stems weighing down, then just don't prune back the plant. So that's the story with these hydrangeas. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to show you over here. So I'm going to be doing some more hydrangea propagating. I'm going to be cutting a lot of these stems right beneath like a leaf node, and I'm going to put them in either some soil. I'm going to put a little rooting powder on them, and we're going to try to get some more hydrangea stems out of those. And I have some that I've rooted. I just kind of put them in water, scraped some of the bottom of the bottom like this with my nail, and I just put it in a vase of water. And after a few weeks, I got roots that way too. Now this is like, it's not always an easy way to propagate your hydrangeas, but it did work. I have to say, it did work for me a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to show you what that looks like as I start to plant them. And then who else is in here? I've got another, I think this was a Big Daddy. I've got another mop head. I just wanted to show you, this is what the fresh looks like. This is what like those fresh blooms look like, as opposed to those dried flower blooms. So they're both really pretty, but know that these obviously are going to last a lot longer because they're dried out, and sometimes these guys flop a little prematurely because their stems tend to clog. Now guys, I made you a 3-course guide on how to grow beautiful annual flowers in for a fresh cut flower garden, and there's another one that I made that's how to grow a beautiful perennial garden like this for fresh cut flowers. And then the 3rd course is how to create beautiful arrangements from your flowers that you've grown in your own backyards. And I tell you that when you're using Oasis foam, like a lot of people like to use Oasis foam, and they put these fresh hydrangeas in them, these stems that have the fresh flowers, a lot of times they'll flop because the stems tend to get clogged up. And so if you're going to use Oasis foam to build out your beautiful flower arrangements from the flowers that you grow in your own backyard, I always recommend using more of like a dried out version of the flower, because at this point the flower's just about set to go. It's pretty much dried out already, so I'm not too worried about it getting water up that stem. So if you have those stems placed in Oasis foam, usually it's a good idea to use the dried version. And listen guys, those courses are coming out next week. So if you haven't already, grab my early access code. Is in descriptions below, because the first 100 people who grab my Gardening 101 bundle to grab the 3 courses, you're going to get 1 course for free. And the guides are only $9.95 a piece. So you can check those out. Check it out in descriptions below. Grab that early access. And we're going to open up the courses to the people that have that early access code first. You'll kind of get on my mailing list. We'll send you guys out the link a day or 2 ahead. And you'll have, the chance to kind of buy those courses before anybody else and grab that extra course for free. So that's the story with that. I wanted to show you one of my sunflowers here because a lot of you have been asking about harvesting sunflower seeds, and I have a whole bunch of videos on that. We're going to cover that in the course also. But this is like a really beautiful sunflower. Some people have asked questions about like, why are my sunflower seeds white? So these sunflower seeds happen to be white, and it's just because it's the variety of this sunflower. So most of them that I have growing in my farm and in my garden have the black sunflower seeds, but some of them are white just because it's the variety of the flower. And some of you have asked me, like, when's the best stage to harvest them? So here's when I harvest mine. This guy, even though I can see these beautiful plump, ripe, these plump seeds, they're not quite ripe yet. So I have a hard time lifting them out with my finger. And the story is that I wait for these petals to kind of drop to the ground naturally, and then I'll come in here and I'll kind of scrape off these, you know, like these middle petals. But I'm noticing that I can't scrape off the ones right smack in the middle. So that tells me that these seeds probably aren't totally ripe yet for harvesting. So I would wait. And I have a whole, I have a whole bunch of videos showing you exactly how to harvest them once they are ripe. But this is the story. If you can still do this with your sunflower and those petals don't come off in the middle, leave it be. It's not quite ready for the harvest. And also, the sunflower head usually kind of droops down, and it will turn kind of like white and brown on the back. So this guy is still really, really green. So these seeds are not yet ripe for the harvest. So I would kind of hold off and wait to harvest those sunflower seeds. But in these courses, we're going to show you how to harvest your sunflower seeds, zinnia seeds, celosia seeds, and then you could just keep replanting all of these beautiful flowers in your garden year after year. So that's the story with that. And I wanted to thank Denise D, because she sponsored today's cup of caffeine. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that, Denise, and I appreciate your kind comment. So guys, if you ever want to just say thank you or just buy me a cup of coffee, you can take a look in my descriptions below. I have a supporters page. And if not, no worries. I'm still going to be bringing you these beautiful flower tips week after week. I try to go live every Thursday at 10:30 here on my YouTube channel. And guys, please feel free to say hi to us over on my Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group, because there's gardeners from all over the world, and they're posting pictures of their own beautiful flowers, and they're asking and answering tons and tons of garden questions. So I think that's it for today, guys. I just wanted to give you like a quick little hello and tell you what's going on, and I'll give you like just a quick little view of what's going on back here in the secret garden. Like I said, we really got pummeled. You can tell all of these black-eyed Susans kind of fell to the ground. I'm just going to kind of prop them up a little bit, just with a little bit of, I'll probably put some bamboo sticks all around them, and then I'll put a little bit of twine to lift them up, because I love how my black-eyed Susans self-seed. And, you know, the more I have them propped up, that means those seeds are going to get nice and ripe, and they're going to wind up spreading throughout my garden, and they're going to give me even more flowers. So that's the story there. And guys, just to give you some perspective, a lot of you have asked me, well, you know, my Limelight Hydrangeas aren't huge, and I've had them in the ground for like 2 or 3 years. So this Limelight Hydrangea that is gigantic is about, I don't know, like maybe 12 years old, 12 to 15 years old. And the one next to it, this little pinky guy, that's also a Limelight Hydrangea. Now he's probably about 5 or 6 years old. So be patient with your hydrangeas. A lot of times people are like, you know, my hydrangeas don't look like my neighbors. And sometimes they just need a little bit more time to mature. So let me just give you like a little zoom in. And you can tell those pink colors are coming out on this plant a little bit sooner than the big mama that's next to it. And so if you're looking for a low fuss hydrangea to grow in your garden, I love Limelight Hydrangeas. And you don't even have to worry about when to prune these guys back. Sometimes, like I said, I'll prune them back in the beginning of spring, but most of the time I don't prune them back at all. So that's the story, guys. I will see you guys. Let me see what my little live chat says. Welcome to... Okay, guys, listen, please let me know where you're viewing this from, and let me know if you were able to get some great tips today. I love to see your comments. They mean a lot to me. So give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and leave me some comments if you have some gardening questions. I'll try to answer them today. See you in the next video.